Squeeze in the commentary booth. We heard there were some issues with music, but you have the lovely melody of Meat Cereal now to take you through what should be an epic best of three.
Yeah, Meat Cereal bringing the hype for you for this Division 1 game, as we're about to jump in any minute now.
Yeah, precisely so. And we have a couple of minutes to talk about these teams before we do get into picks and bans. Oh no, I want to take a look through these teams. Division 1, and for anyone who has been around the SRG circus, last year or even before, you'll recognize a lot of big names here. You've got Munkholm in the jungle, you've got Trikos, you've got Starkos, and you have Mental Boom top for Kraken, aka the Lyra Tryndamere one trick himself, Muller. If you remember all the way back to, I believe it was Summer Split last year. And, I do feel that this is going to be a very interesting game. Both teams currently sitting 0-2 or 0-1 in the standings, having suffered a 2-0 clean sweep in their first games of the week. Meat Squeeze, do you have any particular favorites, anything to watch out for?
Well, I'm curious how this bot lane is gonna work out for Team Harte. Obviously, their own bot lane isn't here, so we got Stargos subbing in from top lane to the bot lane, and Double Hagen as a substitute. And I'm hoping to see some cool plays happening around this bot side today.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Starkos going from that top lane to the support role. Double Hagen and Mr. Tang, the two substitutes that have come in. And it's flattened what I feel was a bit of hype coming into this game, because if you remember back to the Wintersplit from 2019, Muller, or Mental Boom Top, formerly known as Muller, which I'm probably just going to call him for this entire series, he was a top laner for Ares, and that was a team back down in Division 3, if I'm not mistaken. Now he's the top laner, he's the captain for Kraken, leading them forward. And I was very interested to see how he would perform on this top stage of Serenity Gaming, and I felt that playing against Starkos would be an excellent test, an excellent chance to display his talents. But into Mr. Tang, someone that we know a little bit less about, I'm still interested to see how he can perform for Kraken.
Yeah, I'm actually interested how the entire of Kraken is gonna perform. I haven't really found a lot. I feel like they're all quite new players, or not EOS players at least.
Yeah.
And it was hard to find anything particularly on them. We did find out they didn't have much experience in their playing lanes, or at least it seems like.
And I think when we talk about that experience, it was standing out, which was Dizzy. Playing in the jungle for Kraken, but you look to all of his previous match history from Season 9, he is an ADC through and through, so a role swap coming into Season 10, and I am very interested to see how he can perform with this role from ADC to the jungle position.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he's going to be stuck farming jungle camps with his ADC habits. Maybe he turns in to be a root team player.
Yeah. See, this is going to be the bit where he's role swap. He's going to be so excited. He gets to go to a camp and he's like, it's mine. No one can take it from me. I'm allowed to take these camps without someone flaming me, until he gets to 25 minutes in and his team flames him for taking the red and blue buff away from
exactly.
the ADC and mage respectively. But straight into drafts, and the Zillion ban coming out through instantaneously. Trikos, a Zillion one-trick player through and through, and no surprises with that first ban at all.
Yeah, we did saw that one coming for sure.
Here we go, and it will be the Ornn and Olaf bans following through. Muller has been playing a fair bit of Ornn lately. Maybe we'll see the Irelia ban as well, as the set does get taken away. Just a super strong champion right now, as the Leona gets taken away from Starkos, which he has been playing a little bit in solo queue lately.
Yes, and there's the Soraka. No Soraka top lane this game. Maybe in one of the other two games. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe when Starkos goes back to top lane, he can pull out the Soraka top and just poke down Muller. When we do talk about Muller, he does like to play those split push champions. We recognize him as being that Tryndamere one-trick player and insanely strong at it. But we did talk about the Thresh before we came live, and Hydra Smash is able to pick up that champion. And we'll have to see what it gets paired with. Maybe something along the lines of that Aphelios, as the Nautilus is going to get picked up for Esports Harte.
Yeah, and also this tournament is open, so maybe we'll see it happen. A hover from Esport Harte showing that tournament.
you'd have to think it's just going to be a hover. Do they dare to play the disrespect, taking the Tryndamere against the Trinder OTP? And having spoken to Muller, a lot in the past, he's always confident of playing into the Tryndamere in the top lane, but it will be that Senna that has been picked up. And we were discussing beforehand, Senna, where is it right now after the nerfs? Her the soul drop rate from cannons has been so massively destroyed, almost 100 times decrease on its spawn.
Yeah,
So
her
let's see how it
scaling
goes.
into late game is definitely less, or I believe. Like you will have less mists, and you will have less damage, less attack speed, attack range,
Mm.
crit chance, everything less. But in terms of laning, nothing changed. So she's still that strong and impressive laning and safe as well. You just have a bit less scaling.
But for Kraken, it's going to be the J4 Orianna combo, one of the oldest Wombo combos in the book, as the Ziggs that gets picked up for Esports Harte as we make our way into the second round of bans, and it will be the MF that gets taken off the board first.
Yeah, MF would just synergize with this Wombo combo even more. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Kraken will go all out on this Wombo combo. Obviously, the Aphidus ulti works with it well. Oh, there we have the ban.
Yeah, and that focus coming in towards the ADC role, but I think they've missed a trick here with that Irelia because this is just such a big team fight comp from Kraken. You'd have to think that Muller does want to go for that Irelia. Synergizes so well with the overall team fight identity that this draft currently has.
As we'll see. First, we'll see the fourth pick from Harte coming on here.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what they plan to take first. Do they go for the top lane? Do they go for the jungle? What do they want to blind pick? And it will be the Sejuani, which has received a bit of a buff lately, and it can get through, I believe, the jungle camps a little bit quicker earlier on.
Yeah, early games definitely improved massively with this attack speed bonus she got in patch 10.3.
And
I believe Jarvan is a soft counter to her still, so I'm wondering how this matchup is going to work out.
it now feels like we've rewound the clocks by about 4 months, back to when it was just Sejuani Jarvan, every single game coming through. I'm not going to pretend I didn't like that meta. It was quite nice and predictable for me as a caster, as the Kaiser will get locked in with the Thresh, and again, the team fight still looking scary here from Kraken.
Yes, it does, and Shen is going to be working wonderful. Oh, just a hover. Vladimir. They're going to be a bit heavy on the AP damage on the Kraken side here, but Vladimir is also just a strong team fighter, and he can just wipe out an entire team with a good flank.
Yeah, and I would have quite liked the Shen because I know it is a champion that Muller can play very well, and again, it's synergized with this Kaiser, just extra protection, but I don't think the Vladimir is a bad choice either, as Mr. Tang will be getting the Kale in the top lane, so two late game monsters, or I guess now after Kale got nerfed a few patches ago, the Vladimir is a little bit more unstable and a bit more crazy when you get to that ultra late game stage.
Yes, I do feel these teams are going to be going head to head in these late game team fights, 5v5, no fancy split pushing.
Yeah, no fancy split pushing. This is just all about that straight up team fight. But I want to take a look towards the early game. You've got the J4, a lot of gank pressure. Sejuani as well. Once she hits 6, she can turn up wherever she wants with so much gank potential. Where do we see these junglers focusing? What is the primary focus for both teams?
Yeah, that's a good question. Nautilus is quite vulnerable in lane to be ganked a lot, and Thresh can set up these ganks quite nicely with his hook, with his lantern to Jarvan. So who knows? We might see some bot action. We might see some top action trying to shut down this kill early game, or even tap it on mid lane, just putting the Wombo combo on the mid lane every time as soon as Orianna hits level 6.
Yeah, precisely so. But I am interested to see the Thresh versus Nautilus. When we did cast the inaugural match of 2024 Serenity Gaming, we saw Elabella, that Thresh being banned away from him, and we were hyping up Thresh before we came live. The fact that Hydra Smash plays a lot of Thresh. I wonder if we could see a Thresh to that same kind of level as Elabel, who I think is probably on one of the top 5 players of the split. Because if this Thresh pops off, if Hydra Smash is a, a bunny Fufu style player, we're in for a very, very spicy game.
Yeah, Trash is definitely go big or go home kind of a champion to me. Like, they either hit every hook or they miss every one. And I'm hoping for Hydra Smash, he's gonna hit everyone, every single one of them.
Yeah, and of course with that Lantern as well, just helps out that Jarvan with the gank, and maybe post 6 you get the Jarvan roaming it down with the Orianna as well for those big up plays in the bot lane, and maybe we will just be seeing those turret dives coming in a little bit later on.
They do have the possibility for it with the Jarvan and the Orianna, of course. And yes, they synergize quite well with these turret dives, so who knows, they can pull it off. Let's see.
I'm also quite interested to see how Esports Harte try to play this, because we talked about how this is going to be a straight 5v5 team fight. But the more I think about it, the more I start to think that maybe Tricos goes in the side lane. You've got the Mega Inferno bomb, which does have a long range to it, so he can impact a fight a little bit like a Gangplank. But also, you've got those satchel charges that deal a lot of damage to the turrets with that execution. So maybe Tricos and thereby Esports Harte have a possibility of going with a 1-4, or maybe even a 1-3-1 with Mr. Tang in one of the other side lanes.
I think that will have to be a 1-3-1 because I'm not sure how the Vladimir into Ziggs matchup goes, but I think that's Vladimir's favorite, and Vladimir loves sitting in the side lane as well. He wouldn't mind that, I believe.
Okay, so my question to you now, 30 seconds remaining of Spectator Delay before we get into the game. Summoner spells identical across the map with the exception of support. Ignite for Starkos, and it is the Exhaust for Mash. We've seen the draft. For me, it feels very even. Meat Squeeze, do you have any preferences to one side? And if so, why?
It's hard to tell. I think if Kraken can pull off the wombo combo, my preference is for them or Vladimir flank. But otherwise, I think Esports Harte will have the better front-to-back team fighting composition here.
I always love asking this question as a play-by-play caster, because a couple of times I have done color casting, my play-by-plays, a couple of them specifically, have loved asking me this question. Who do you think is going to win after seeing the draft? And I'm kind of like, it's a kind of even draft. So now that I'm a play-by-play caster, I feel like I can sit on the fence, say whatever I want, because if I'm wrong, people in the chat, they're just like, oh, this guy is a play-by-play. He's an idiot. It doesn't matter what he says. He's just there to hype. But, if you get it wrong, you get slated for it. So I get to have fun.
I'm not seeing Twitch chat right now. Who knows? I'm not being flamed. I don't know if you have eyes on
No,
Twitch chat.
not yet.
Not
Anyway.
yet. All right.
Not yet.
That's good. That's good. That means they don't strongly disagree. Yeah.
Yeah. Taking a look at the runes so far, nothing really standing out. We've got to press the attack on Kale. All makes sense. Summon Airy on the Orianna. Nothing to stand out.
Is Conqueror Jarvan a thing at the moment? I'm not sure about that.
What, you have to go Conqueror or Electrocute, I would have thought, and I think Conqueror's just stronger, isn't it?
I think Into the Sejuani is stronger for the longer fights for sure, yes.
Okay.
I'm guessing he will go Challenger Smite as well to have the dueling power.
Yeah, and we'll have to see whether he does go for the blue or for the red Smite, Challenger, or Chilling. Both junglers will be picking up that Hunter's Machete to start off with, as we are into a pause straight away, just like we had back last week on Monday for our Division 1 game.
It might be a tactic. Division 1 tactics, tilting your enemy with pauses.
Yeah, there you go. It's always a perfect thing to do. Just when a fight's about to break out, just pause. Just throw them off.
Yeah.
I once had a game where the enemy team had paused. It was a scrim, actually. And the enemy team had paused for about 10 minutes because the jungler decided to go somewhere and do. He went to get food, and apparently getting food takes 10 minutes. But I don't know. Anyway, all I know is we were there for 10 minutes complaining about how the enemy team was taking so long, and then they just randomly said, oh, the guy's not coming, we're going to play 4v5, and they just started the game when we weren't ready. And we were like, whoa, pause. You don't do that. No.
What happens to me every time they pause at the start of the game, I forget to buy my items, It's just so standard. You buy items, walk out of the base. As
Okay.
we see a small invade happening on the top side.
Yeah, and that Raptor ward is going to get dropped by the side of Kraken as Starkos playing very aggressively. He's going to drop a ward of his own, and Mash thinks that maybe he could do something, but Double Hagen is there to provide some support to the support.
Yeah, they're just trying to spot out enemy junglers pathing in the early game. We might see some vertical jungling happening.
And we will have to take a look to whether that vertical jungling will come through or not. I think we're going to get standard top to bottom and bottom to top, both junglers starting on their blue buff. But I'm very interested to see where the first ganks are going to come through, because you look towards the top lane, Kel is a very juicy target for DC's Jarvan, and then towards the bottom lane as well, you know, Nautilus and Thresh, they have so much gank set up. And I feel that the junglers can both be looking to so many different places across the map.
We see Sejuani going straight from blue buff to the enemy red buff, denying that from Jarvan because he's actually staying on his own side of the map. As they might spot each other.
So Moncom has gone for the vertical jungling. Arctic Assault's over the wall. And mission accomplished. Picks up the red buff nice and cleanly, and now makes his way back to his bot side, to his Gromp. And let's see how DC plans on reacting to this.
Yeah, I think there's no real answer to that. He can just clear his other camps. And this is going to be a 3 buff start for Moncom, and that's a good start for him.
Perfectly so, and yeah, Red's been informing us that there are some slight issues, but I believe, you know what the reason for this is? It's because Red said that it's actually possible to build Morrill and Nomicon in the game, in our production chat. He said that. You know, you can't go against your thing. And I think he's invoked the curses of the LS gods that be. Or just of LS himself. But here we go, bot lane. Oh, that is a really nice, but the flash forward with the flag and drag. The flag will come through, but not going to be enough damage. It's a flash for flash trade between Dissy and Double Hagen.
Yeah, I'm wondering how Hydra Smash can utilize this exhaust, because myself, I think I would have preferred as he's got a hook here.
Yeah, the death sentence comes through, and well, the depth charge, sorry, not the depth charge, the dredge line will not be able to find the turret. Take Starkos out to safety, but it will just be a short trade, as in the mid lane, Moncom looking for the gank. Here we go. Won't dive in with the Arctic Assault, and all will be good.
As I was saying, Senna has this sustain as they're fighting over
the collapse
Scuttle.
onto Moncom now. Arctic Assault over the wall, will be able to see him get out. Big jungle lead for Moncom at the moment, and he doesn't want to lose this lead to Dissy, who's will be able to pick up the Scuttle Crab successfully. First strike of the game is going to be that Ocean in just over 30 seconds time. We'll have to see whether either team look to place any focus there at all. Both junglers currently topside, and they could potentially look for the gank or even the counter gank.
Yeah, at the moment it's just farming. I do like to point out that so far Hydra's Smash, his trash has been looking quite good. He has been landing his hooks. I like to see that.
Yep, indeed. So no significant CS lead anywhere in the map, with the exception of top lane, about 5 CS advantage to Mr. Tank, but I wouldn't exactly call that a sizable advantage. Dissy potentially going to look towards the mid lane, and he's got Masha following behind. No flash, flag and drag in, but that would be the satchel charge to take Trickers out to safety.
Yeah, it was a good try. Also a good roam from Trash here. Well, on Senna's reset timing, yeah.
Yeah, and Mash might be able to back and pick himself up some Moby boots. He does have... No, he doesn't have enough gold just yet. He needs another 200. So I'm sure that's what he will be waiting for. But you just have to think, looking at this top lane, it's just going to be just trade after trade, nothing really sizable happening. Pardon me, I was going to say mental boom top, and I told myself I would not say that. Muller has just hit the level 6, and Mr. Tang was not yet 6, so I thought maybe he could look for something aggressive, but Mr. Tang on the turret, all nice and safe.
Yeah, I think this is just gonna both of them. They are both fine with just farming up, waiting for late game power spikes, and deleting the backline of the enemy team.
The other thing I want to kind of hover over is the fact that we do have that first Drake up, and while, you know, a lot of people say you don't have to go for those first 2 Drakes, but if they're there, and there doesn't seem to be anything really starting off a fight. And now that we're starting to get these level 6 points, and here you go, Kraken will look to start that Drake because we do have the teleports available from 3 different players. Trickers has just used a TP of his own. And the death sentence is gonna miss its mark. Monko goes in, he finds the steal. Are you kidding me? But now the TP comes in. A 3v2 is gonna get turned into a 4. But first blood goes over to Trickers, who finds the kill onto Dizzy. As the last embrace will find its mark onto Muller, flashes over the wall, and that will be the shockwave coming through, but will not find anything at all. Monko is on the run as Sebastian Kiel looking for the kill, and the Void Seeker will find its mark, and Sebastian will get the return a kill. But first blood and first Drake going over to Esports Harte.
It was a lovely combo with the Sejuani passive and the 6 ulti there on the Jarvan.
And it felt like a good idea from Kraken. Literally, just as I was thinking about the fact that they can go for this, they do have those wombo combos at 6. They look to pull the trigger, but Triggers had just TP'd back into lane. LCS wannabe hadn't got his back off yet, so it was just the wrong time for them to pull the trigger there. Oh no, Dreadshine just shy of its mark as the last embrace does land onto Mash, but he will be able to survive. And with a Rift Herald up on the cards, maybe this is the chance for Kraken to find a response to Esports Harte.
Yeah, I think they just lacked a bit of damage there. You see 2 tiers on the side of Kraken, and that's just no offensive stats at all, which won't help in these team fights.
Now, I'm getting scared in this bot lane because Sebastian killed and Mash are low. They're both going to back, or at least Sebastian will, as a blue buff in the bot side of the map gets donated over to Trikos and Starkos and Double Hagen. We'll just look to pick up some turret plates here. Death Sentence, a little bit shy of its mark, and Dizzy could potentially look for the dive into the bot lane, but might look towards this mid lane first.
Yeah, Jarvan is definitely sticking around this mid lane a lot, especially with this Orianna having her ultimate up, but they haven't yet been able to pull it off.
They haven't, as Muller taking a fair bit of damage, and he's going to have to back off as Moncom potentially looking for a play at top of the side. Stacy and Hydras will get spotted out by this control ward in the pixel brush, and Stacy needs to back off. He has double buffs, doesn't want to be giving that one over to the Ziggs.
And we see Esports Harte swapping the bot lane towards top to get control over this Herald as well, and this should be theirs without any problem.
And that Rift Herald now started up, very nicely done by Esports Harte, rotating the lanes around when they realize where they need to put their priority. And a little bit sad as well for Muller that he is down in CS. That teleport that he made down into the bot side river for the Drake fight has kind of cost him the slight lead that he did have over Mr. Tang. Oh, Flag and Drag misses his mark. He's going to take a couple of turret shots. There's LCS wannabe. Takes a bomb to the face. And Shelly's going to charge in the top lane, and that will be quite a few turret plates going over to this trio.
It is done very well by Esports Harte, and you can see Kraken is just not willing to match it. They're forcing this dive on a kill. A kill just has this ulti.
Flag and Drag coming through, but there comes the KL ultimate now. Focus, a flash away, but the killer instinct in behind. The exhaust comes through, but they don't have enough damage. Hydra Smash takes so much damage, and the kill will go over to Mr. Tang as a Mega Inferno Bomb buys a bit more time. Dreadline coming through in the bottom lane. Ignite on top, but The last embrace will not be able to clip onto... Oh no, here's Monko. He's looking for it. There is no Sanguine Pool. In we go. The Winter's Wrath, Arctic Assault, Permafrost. And Malcolm will take the kill. Now, LCS Wannabe is under pressure, under turret. He doesn't want to get hit by the bouncing bomb, but that's exactly what happens. The heal comes through from Sebastian in the bottom lane, which will keep him alive. But Esport's Harte starting to run away with this game. 4 kills, a 2-1, and a 2k goal lead.
Yeah, obviously a very good outplay by Mr. Tang on the turret, surviving that tower dive. That definitely put them ahead in this game at the moment. As you will see, bot lane swapping, Esports Harte is bot lane swapping back to get priority over his Drake.
Yeah, 4 kills to 1 again, and we do have the Infernal Drake coming up. And when we do look in terms of scaling, you do have to think it's slightly more on the side of Esports Harte. I mean, that being said, Kraken are by no means pushovers the late game, but I personally just think there's that slight little advantage for Harte.
Yeah, I think so too. But you will always have this wombo combo threat that can just win a team fight out of nowhere, even when they are behind. All you have to do is just pull it off.
Yeah, precisely so. And you know, we talk about execution of fights so often. For Kraken, it's very easy to execute their fight. The most difficult part of their fight is landing the death sentence from MASH. As Dissy's going aggressive, Cataclysm available, but the CC comes through. Now MASH, oh, he finds the death sentence onto Starkus, who goes golden. Monkom coming in. There comes the Dawning Shadow, buys more time. Mega Inferno Bomb on top. So much damage onto Dissy as now the bouncing bombs come through. Look how low everyone is. Flash forward and flash out. Bouncing bomb not going to connect. Now MASH under focus, and the bouncing bomb picks up the kill. Trickles now 3-0, and the Infernal will be started off by Harte.
Yeah, it's the strength of all these global ults as well. With Senna, you can stall out a fight quite long. The stopwatch from Stargos saving a lot of time there as well in order for their team to respond.
Okay, and we're going to be getting back underway in just a couple of seconds time. Mr. Tang in the top lane tried to tank a couple of turret shots, but Mental Boom top turned up. And Mr. Tang has been forced to back up, but he's just going to shove this wave in, pick up that first turret of the game in just a few moments' time, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're definitely starting to see a small lead in favor of Mr. Tang in the top lane here.
Yeah,
we should definitely help.
We say small lead. We're talking about a 20 CS lead for a Kale, 13 minutes in. You know, it's a decent size.
20 CS and a kill as well. Don't forget that. Yeah.
Precisely so, and you know, even in the mid lane, a big CS advantage for Trikos, who has just been poking down LCS Wannabe, landing all of those bouncing bombs, and now this is not looking good for Muller, but Dissy is here, will jump over onto a control wood, goes in with the Hemo Plague. Does he have the damage? Flag and Drag will miss it. Smart Cataclysm on top. But there comes the KL Ultimate. Mr. Tang picks up the kill. Now he can look for Muller as well. But he has to be careful of the transfusion. Finds the damage. He finds the double. But Muller will get revenge. A 2-for-1 in the top lane.
Beautiful timed ulti from Mr. Tang.
Really nicely done, as in the mid lane, Trikos just throwing out bomb after bomb after bomb. And with that blue buff, those bombs aren't ever going to run out, and LCS Wannabe just has to play a game of dodge the Ziggs bombs. Dredge line will land. Here comes Monkum as well, blasting Cone over the collapse in with the Arctic Assault, and that's another kill going over to Esports Harte as the mid lane turret is destroyed in the process.
Yeah, you see the LCS Wannabe rushing these boots in order to help him dodge all these poke from Trikos here.
And just with a tier at the moment, Luden's Echo completed for Trikos. If you are LCS Wannabe, you have to be feeling so bad right now. You're just so far behind. And Esports Harte, they're looking for the collapse. And oh, there's a Glacial Prison. There is no way out for the Kaiser. Trikos on a rampage. And this is just going to be a TP of a Doom coming in from Muller. He will use Sanguine Pool to buy some time. Death Sentence comes in, but no follow-up on Trikos. There's a Shockwave, but there is just no follow-up. and it is still going to be just that one kill for nothing as a satchel charge gets placed at the base of the final outer turret, and that is a 3 outers down in favor of Esports Harte.
Yeah, at the moment it seems like everything is going their way for Esports Harte. Everything's working out perfectly.
Yeah,
And,
and I feel like I had this exact same discussion with Hat yesterday in the Division 4 game. What is the way back in for Kraken? Because it's looking like it's pretty much a lost cause. You've got a 4-0 Ziggs. You have a 3-1 Kale entering mid-game. Speaking of Mr. Tang, Protobell away, but it doesn't matter. Flasher forward, and Mr. Tang picks. Okay, Hemoplay comes in. There we go. It's a 1-for-1. Good outplay coming in from Muller.
I think for Kraken to get back in the game, first they need to get a little bit more items under the belt of Mental Boom and else just Wannabe.
And maybe hope that Mr. Tang does that a few more times as well, just to give a bit more gold over to Mental Boom.
Yeah, a small shutdown bonus is always welcome, I would say.
However,
but they're gonna need a beautiful one
Kelly's picked up, but now the collapse will come in. Depth charge has been channeled. Starkos just goes in and the TP following. Oh no, Dredgeline doesn't find his mark, but their chase will ensue. They're looking for Mash, flash forward. There comes the empowered auto, and that is Mash down. Surely they can now just focus towards the top side with I'm talking about Esports Harte, but they're gonna look towards the mid lane where Tricos has already secured the inner turret. Don't forget that the Rift Herald was picked up by Kraken in that fight. Oh no, flag and drag. That is a really bad time to go in. And the shockwave does nothing at all. Now the collapse onto LCS Wannabe. Divine Judgment on top of the Sejuani. Not going to be needed as Running Shadow already used just to buy that little bit of a time. 3 members of a Kraken remain to defend and wave clear. And to be fair, they do have a fair amount of wave.
To do, but this fight seems like they just weren't on the same line with when to go in and when not to. Their indecisiveness just seems to
no. Good sanguine pull, but it's not going to be enough. The bouncing bomb does so much darn damage. 5-0 on the Ziggs. And Tricos is saying, this is what happens when you ban away my Zillion. But that being said, if Tricos is this good at landing bouncing bombs, I am disgusted to find out how good he is at landing the Zillion time bombs.
I think he just likes bombs.
Who else has bombs? I don't think Jinx counts.
No, she's
Tristana,
more...
yeah, there we
Tristana,
go. So
yeah, maybe
next game Tristana's coming in. 100%,
it has to be.
Yeah. Anything that can just explode in your face.
Well, Jinx will count then with her ulti.
I don't feel it's the same. It's not. It
doesn't feel the same, no, but it does explode in your face.
That's true. Right, 13 kills to 3, almost a 10k goal lead for Esports Harte, and now the Mountain Drake being started up as well. Does he go in for the God play to try to find the steal? Because if he goes in and he dies, it's just going to be more objectives falling over, and Dizzy just gets engaged, Dizzy gets taken down, and the Mountain Drake will follow suit. That's the 3rd Elemental Drakes to Esports Harte, and there's going to be the Mountain Soul coming up in just under 5 minutes time as well.
Yeah, I don't think Esports Harte is complaining about this Mountain Soul. It's going to make their front line a lot tankier.
And they have a front line as well. Sejuani and Nautilus. Tanky and a lot of peel for double Hagen on the center. And Tricos on this Ziggs.
Yeah, and also the Mr. Tang on KO will do a lot of DPS in these fights.
That Manamane has not been stacked up, but the Dredge line comes in. Look at the output of damage. Tricos is dominating as they absolutely destroy the LCS Wannabe. I mean, you can try to clear out the waves, but you're risking a lot in the process. And we talked about the split push potential of Esports Harte. Sanguine Pool will keep Muller alive. Death Sentence not going to be landing onto Tricos as the 1-4 comes in. And the satchel charge will be getting dropped at the inhibitor turret. Mental Boom takes so much damage. Transfusion barely keeping him alive as the first inhibitor turret of the game will fall.
So there's one thing I like to point out. The LCS Wannabe just sold all of his items and bought the components for an Luna's Echo. And I'm
Oh
curious why he
wow.
did that straight away.
You have to be feeling bad if you're LCS wannabe. You haven't even completed your first item 20 minutes into the game, whereas Tricos, he's going to be completing that Morello. He's got 3,000 gold in the bank account right now. He's a 4.5k gold up on his mid lane counterpart. I mean, is there any sadder sight than seeing a jungler having to drop down his Rift Herald because it's about to time out just for it to get taken down without having accomplished anything in its life?
It is quite sad.
Oh, Glacial Prison on Dizzy. He flashes. He wants to find the steal. The stopwatch will buy some time. Monkom is very low, but the Super Inferno Bomb will pick up the kill. A flash away from Sejuani, but it doesn't keep her alive. Now the fight comes in. The bouncing bombs are following suit. Meanwhile, Mr. Tank just pushing in the bottom lane. The Dawning Shadow will buy some time as Sebastian Kill goes in with a killer instinct. Is he going to be able to find the damage? He'll flash away the Baron down to 900 HP. Who's going to be able to pick it up? LCS wannabe gets taken down. The knock up onto Mental Boom Top inside the Baron pit, and it will be secured by the side of Esports Harte. They pick up the Vladimir. They can look for Sebastian Kill, but he's going to be forced back. And while all of this is happening, look who is at the Nexus. It's a Mr. Tang going in onto the final Nexus turret. The TP instantly in from Tricos. 21.5 minutes into game one, and it is going to be Esports Harte who will pick up the game. Cleanly done. 19 kills to 4 was not even close. And Kraken have some serious thinking to do going into game number 2.
Yeah, just a fun fact. This is the new fastest game time set for Division 1 right now.
Is it?
It's, I
Okay.
believe the last one was around 25 minutes.
So 21 minutes and 40 something seconds. The new record of fastest time in Division 1. Well, there's a mini game for Esports Harte to play heading into game 2. Can they beat that? Maybe try to go under the 20-minute mark. Will be a bit of an ask, but meat squeeze. Heading into game 2, what do Kraken need to improve on? Where does their focus need be?
Well, for one, the LCS wannabe needs to know what item he wants to build. I think that will help a lot.
Okay.
And for second, I think the draft was fun, and I think it's just all coming down to execution.
Yeah, and we talked about, the all-in potential, but when you just have no damage on that shockwave, the Jarvan so far behind, it doesn't matter. You're going with a Cataclysm, this is already dead, then the shockwave comes through, and Esports hard to just, look behind them like, wait, were you trying to damage us? And the answer is no, they didn't do anything to that.
No, they wanted to tickle them a bit.
Oh yeah, it was just a playful tickling, and then Esports Harte were like, "Oh, let's have a tickle back," and then they went to tickle, and they just like destroyed all of them just with like one touch. They were that far ahead.
No, but I think they need to clean up their early game, and just like esports hard they got a small advantage, and they managed to snowball it very nicely into a big lead. And on the
And
other hand, you have Kraken contesting things when they shouldn't really.
final point I want to mention before we do go into a break before game 2, we talked about DC a little bit heading into game 1. The ADC who's role swapped to jungle. We were kind of curious as to how he'd perform in the jungle role. Meat squeeze, rating out of 10.
I think it's a hard game to rate. If you ask me next game again, I will have made up my mind.
Okay. I will hold you to that. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be heading into a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with a game or 2 of Division 1 as Kraken take on Esports Harte.
Every child in Valorant has heard the tale before about the cursed mummy boy who felt his heart no more. So sad and lorn, the helpless lad, Amumu was his name. He ventured out to find a friend and learn about his bane. For many years, young Amumu traveled through the lands, determined to make friends if only they would understand. But even when Amumu stood upon the ledge of home, his hope would disappoint him and he would remain alone. But then the curse began to whisper in his ear and would confirm what was Amumu's biggest fear. It pledged that never shall someone become his friend. It pledged that he shall be alone until his end. But sorrow and despair became too much to bear. The moment when Amumu realized what he had done, too late it was for him, for them, the evil curse had won. The anger and the anguish overwhelmed his fragile soul and caused a wicked tantrum that he never could control.
To hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Serenity Gaming Division 1 Week 2 as Kraken take on Esports Harte. Meat squeeze. Game 1 was a bit of a one-sided affair for Esports Harte. Heading into Game 2, remind us what we want to see Kraken do different.
Well, not get snowballed so hard in the early game. Like they need to stand a man, be able to just be able to hold a little bit longer than 21 minutes.
And when we looked at the comps in game one, they were both late game scaling compositions. I personally want to see something a bit more aggressive from Kraken. Whenever something like this happens and you just have such a bad loss, you have a mental boom, to quote one of the players in the team. I always feel that it's good to just go a little bit crazy in game two. Just see what you can pull out of this when game one was so one-sided. So I want to see them, take those early game champions, take those early risks, and play a little bit of do or die. Because when we look over to the likes of Sebastian Kilder, he does play the likes of Draven. Now, I'm not going to say Draven's the only way to go, but Milky wants to see some Draven.
Well, I would definitely not be against some Draven play. It's definitely fun to see. I'm not gonna lie.
And then, of course, we can refer to the mid laner as well. Actually know what you want to buy. Don't pretty much complete an item, then sell it all to buy components of another item and have 0 items in the game.
Yeah, I mean, when you build when you draft a team around like the Bumbo combo of an Orianna John and your Orianna has no damage, it's going to be hard to pull it off.
Because we've all played those games. You play against an Orianna, first 10 minutes, first 15 minutes, it's like, okay, this feels alright, this feels balanced. And then 20 minutes, Orianna hits you with your Q and you lose half your HP and you're like, whoa, chotomate, hold up for a second. And you press tab, you take a look at the items, and you're like, Orianna has a Luden's Echo and an Oblivion Orb. And you're like, alright. And it's just such a big power spike for the Orianna once she does have that one item and a little bit of Magic Pen. She just destroys you, but LCS wannabe never got to that stage.
No, unfortunately not. Otherwise, they might have come back into this game in last game.
Okay, so, we talked about the bans towards Trickles. We thought his Zillion was going to be disgusting. It turned out his Ziggs was actually disgusting. We talked about the bomb champs, but maybe it's the Zed champ. So, Zed, are we feeling a bit of Zed here?
I mean, he's not really meta. He's obviously very fun to watch.
Is Ziggs meta, though?
No, not really. You're right there. You got a point. You got me there. I like to see a good set player. Like, if they're really good, it's awesome to watch them play and make these outplays. It's like a bit of an advanced LeBlanc, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about Zed champions, we've got the Zoe as well. It's all the spicy champions, which I would really enjoy seeing Tricos playing. I can just see him maximizing that paddle star distance to get the max damage off and just one shot whoever he wants. We talked about how we thought Dissy performed rotating from ADC to jungle. What about Muller, aka Mental Boom Top, in the top lane, Division 1? How do you think his performance was on that Vladimir into Mr. Tang's Hail?
Well, I think they went quite evenly until Mr. Tang got to outplay on the bottom side when they was trying to dive, and Muller didn't have his own outplay on the top side. I think that from that point on, it wasn't in his favor anymore.
And that always seems to be the way we look at these top lane matchups. It always feels so even, and then one thing happens, a jungle gamp, one kill when it's such a close fight, and all of a sudden the matchup just swings massively towards one side, and it's almost like there is no coming back.
Yeah, that's basically how top lane feels, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, we've got a bit of a low. Meat Squeeze, you had your game in Division 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
How did that one go?
Well, game 1 went quite good, and then we fell apart, basically. So,
was it a case of mental boom, or...?
Yeah, it was a case of mental boom, I believe, yes. It just didn't work out. I think we didn't train enough beforehand, like... We had one thing we could do, and then they banned Misfortune, and it was done for us.
Right, game 2 though, we saw a lot of ADC bans coming out, and we should be heading into picks and bans right now. There we go, Caster Curse, beautiful. If you talk for long enough, eventually picks and bans will start.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a Caster Curse as well. I think Zillion's gonna be banned.
Oh, you're really going out there, and you also forgot that it's Esport's Harte on the blue side, so I mean, unless you were referring just to a ban rather than first
Yeah,
ban.
just a ban, not right now, just a ban. This ban.
This ban right here. I don't think that Kraken have forgotten that Trickles plays Zillion. If anything, well, I mean, Starkos was on support duty playing that Nautilus. He was actually messaging me saying, "Where is the caster love towards my new role?" And I said, "Dude, you hooked a wall when trying to hook the Oriana. I ain't giving you no love." But clearly, Kraken are scared of that Nautilus pick. And there you go. There's the Zillion ban
There's
coming
the
through as
Zillion.
well. Set and Orn banned away from the side of Kraken.
Honestly, I wouldn't. I think it's quite a good tactic just banning out Stargos. But I'm thinking Leona first pick here.
Yeah,
There
and
we
the
go.
Leona will indeed get picked up as well. The Ornn banned away. As I like the Soraka ban, it's almost... I think that Soraka ban describes what the current meta is. Having trouble top lane, want to be able to beat a Kayle. Here, play Soraka.
You know, the Soraka is a very strong counter pick into some of the current meta picks, but she's also very abusable with a strong carry top laner, and I think a lot of teams aren't seeing that. The fact that when you play Soraka, just pick a strong carry top laner. For example, like Tryndamere, just camp the shit out of that lane. I'm sorry, I cannot swear.
It's fine. Don't
And
worry.
then you can just go from there.
Okay. I like this as well. The Caitlyn Morgana, the power duo coming in for the side of Kraken. That early game bit of pressure now is available. The Leona got picked up with a Lucian. Is a good combo. A lot of the bursted damage, and I definitely prefer the Lucian pick over a blind Tryndamere pick. But that being said, Esports Harte going to go with what worked for them in game 1, and they will lock in the Sejuani for Monko.
Yeah, with all out of the way, Sejuani is very strong. Like there are very few other junglers that can match her in the jungle
I
besides
actually want to
Olaf.
bring something up here because when Sejuani used to be strong, every time we see a Sejuani, we'd be like, "Oh, pick Trundle. It's the counter to Sejuani." Now that Sejuani's back into the meta after this low in power for her, I want to see if we do see that Trundle coming through. As the Annie, I am pretty sure is a placeholder. I've got the ping as well.
Yeah,
Annie is a
Nocturne.
Nocturne.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's very curious.
but
It
I
could be
like it from
Nocturne.
Dizzy.
I like it. I like it's something
Yeah,
spicy. You told me about it's something. It's something you want to see.
precisely. And, it kind of answers Kraken's issues a little bit. If they're getting caught out in the skirmishes, all of a sudden you press this R button. It's that little bit of cheesiness that you can add that can win you fights and potentially the game.
And not only that, it could be Nocturne mid potentially. I know Thaddeus really loves that pick, so who knows?
Wait, who likes the Nocturne mid pick?
Thaddeus, I believe. Is it?
Oh,
Is that
Vedius, yes,
yeah,
the
yes.
connoisseur of Nocturne mid,
Exactly.
the maestro himself. I don't know how you get 2 Diamond 1 as a Nocturne mid. That is actually crazy.
Oh, that just shows the power of it, doesn't it? As we see also Ziggs and Kill being banned.
Yeah,
That leaves
and
just Tristana for the mid lane to be picked here.
I'm still holding on to the Z champions, Zoe or Zed. You heard it here first, and if it doesn't happen, don't worry, you guys never heard it. I'm only a play-by-play cast.
Well, they will lack some AP damage. So
Oh,
I
we got
don't
the shock
think...
turn. We got the shock turn.
Shocked her.
I love this duo. You pull off the lights, Nocturne dives in, stand united on top. It's a lot of damage coming through, but we need that little bit of AP. And you know who has AP, Meat Squeeze? Zoe.
Yes. She does indeed. She does indeed. Zed doesn't. That's for sure.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna see it any
Now,
moment now.
our producer Red, who's a lovely guy, but sometimes he's a bit too clever for his own good. He's just posted, Milky, it can't be a Nocturne mid because the placeholder for Nocturne was picked by the mid laner. So if he actually owned Nocturne and could play him, he would have just picked Nocturne.
Maybe it's in the mind. It's just the mind games, you know.
Exactly.
It's just in the
Yes.
mind games. As we see a little bit of two-way flex coming from Esports Harte with the Gangplank and Vladimir.
Yeah, and is this a case of, hey, we saw you guys play Vladimir, we're gonna show you how to actually play Vladimir.
It could
Now,
be. It could be just foul.
I mean, I was close. Remember, I said something about Zed or Zoe, and you said, "Hey, that's kind of like LeBlanc, but slightly different." So, I mean, we were right there. You called it LeBlanc. That was the final pickup coming in for Kraken. LCS Wannabe will be playing that in the mid lane, and I do like the LeBlanc pick as well because even if he falls behind Trickles like he did in game one, a LeBlanc once he has that first item, which to be fair, LCS Wannabe never got a first item in game one. But once he does get the first item, he can do damage regardless of how far behind he is, just because he is on LeBlanc, just like a Kali players could do before she got nerfed to the ground.
He did live up to the LCS power spike last game, so he's getting better.
What's the LCS power spike? Do I want to know?
But I really like what I'm seeing here from Kraken. I think they throw away the scaling they had last game, and they're going for a bit more snowball heavy comp and a bit early game power as well, with heavy priority lanes.
Yeah, and we look to game one and we were thinking, okay, where do we focus our attention as a jungler if you are Kraken? And we were a little bit confused. We don't know exactly where you're going. You look over to game two, this Nocturne is going to be bot side of the map. This Shen, once he gets that level 6, is going to be bot side. You have such a big all-in potential in this bot lane with the 2 global ultimates, LeBlanc roaming as well with the W. It's a lot of all-in potential, and I'm interested to see how Kraken do play this.
Yeah, but also there's a lot of pressure on Kraken's shoulder here, because if they don't get ahead far enough in these early 20 minutes, they will lose most likely.
I see where you're coming from, but I'm going to go from a different perspective, because I see how you're saying that there's pressure on this side because, they have the early game with the Caitlyn and LeBlanc. They need to find something, otherwise this Vladimir is going to snowball. But I want to look at it from an overall perspective. There's no argument about the fact that Kraken got smashed in game one. So I actually think, there is no pressure. They can do whatever they want. If they lose, okay, it's expected. We all saw game one. If they put up a big fight, that's not expected. And I think, you can always play this when the other team are under this pressure to perform. And when we do talk about the scaling as well, I mean, is Lucian even a champion late game?
If he gets far enough ahead, he is. But if it goes even, no, he falls off quite hard. Yes.
But I mean, in game one, we talked about how we're talking about Kraken, of course. They fall off a little bit late game compared to Esports Harte, but they had, that wombo combo team fight, the J for Oriana, and how that would enable them to win fights, even if they were a little bit behind. This time, you got the wombo combo of the Shock Turner coming in, and it's that little bit of cheesiness again that could potentially turn around the game or snowball a lead for them.
Yeah, but the big problem here, like when you get to this mid game, late game state, what champion is Nocturne gonna ult? You can say Lucian, yeah, but you just made the argument to me like Lucian is no champion late game. What are you gonna do? You're gonna ult Vladimir, just W's for the rest of your tanks in the team. Like it's gonna be hard for them to make this pick and blow someone up besides Lucian in the later game stages.
And I'm very interested to see how 2 lanes go. Once again, I want to see how Muller performs into Mr. Tang's Gangplank. And the only reason I'm intrigued on that is because I think if Muller falls too far behind, he's going to really struggle to actually pull off the stand United that have a real impact. So I do think the primary focus does have to be in this bot lane. Kate Morgana, it is a counter into the Leona because of Morgana, but if you know what you're doing as a Leona, then you can play around the Morgana Black Shield fairly easily.
So you as a Leona main,
Yeah.
how should you play around that Morgana Black Shield?
Okay, so when you play Leona into Morgana, everyone's like, oh, Morgana is, the hard counter into Leona. She's not. The way you play against the Morgana is you do what you always do. You max your W. And before you go in, guess what? You press your W. Once you go in, your Eclipse explodes. And it has just enough damage to actually break the Black Shield. And if it doesn't, the Lucian W definitely combined with it does. Once that has then exploded, you can go in onto the Morgana. if that fails, you can just E in whoever Morgana Black shields, you just go on the other person.
Yeah, that sounds like a solid plan.
And it's why Morgana is a good counter into Leona, but you know, something like a Braum, something like an Alistair, Thresh is just much, much better counter it.
It is, but perhaps up a bit worse with Caitlyn. So I see where they're coming from. Caitlyn Morgana is still like the OG oppressive bot lane.
Yeah, for sure.
Although Caitlyn hasn't been that much meta lately.
I know she did kind of pop up into the meta in preseason back when there was the whole changes to the Curtis Shard and people were playing Caitlyn again. I think she's still an A tier ADC, isn't she?
Well, I used to be Caitlyn main, but it's just the support meta that's just ruining her completely with the Nautilus trash Leona. It makes her quite useless.
Precisely so. But 15 seconds left in the spectator delay. I asked you this in game one, but I'm not going to ask you for a hard out. Who do you think's going to win? But which draft do you favor?
I really like the spiciness of Kraken's draft, so I'm gonna go for them. It's a bit hard to pull off. They need to snowball early, but I like they're trying it. I like where they're going for, and I'm going with that.
So the general consensus that I'm getting, and I guess we'll kind of confirm that at the end of this game, is that, you know, Kraken, they are pulling out the nice drafts, the aesthetically pleasing drafts, let's say, and the issue is more on their execution rather than their drafting ability.
I wouldn't say the execute. I think the issue is more on the laning phase. Really, like the enemy generated such a big lead in the early game that they couldn't really do anything.
And once again, just taking a look at all the abilities, summoner spells, nothing really standing out here. TPs for both top laners, ignites in the mid lane, and everything else is pretty standard.
Yeah, I would like to see an TP on Vladimir as well, so they can go for a 1-3-1 in the late game. But Ignite gives more kill pressure, definitely.
And it's just going to be the 5-point start coming in for both teams, but they actually might look for something in the mid lane as Mash and Kilda looking maybe just to get off some poke damage onto Moncon.
Maybe proc that passive from Sejuani. She'll take a bit more damage. And we will have an Infernal Drake as the first Drake, so there will definitely be some something happening for that, I believe.
But we did see that Infernal coming up early in game one. If it was an Ocean followed by an Infernal, and then Mountains, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're not. That's true.
Cool. See, I do remember stuff. I don't just shout and scream at my microphone.
So there's no invades happening. We do see a small, wards on the Raptors from Harte again.
Yeah, both junglers will be starting on their blue buff, just like we saw in game one. And maybe this will just allow Moncom to go for that early gank in the bot lane, and maybe DC. Oh, this is dirty. Oh, Zenith Blade straight in onto Killed, but he will flash out. So a good, nice cheese coming in will burn that flash for the Caitlyn. And maybe DC might have to... Sorry, not DC. Moncom will have to come down and say hi for a bit.
Yeah, who knows? I think DC's got to be happy he's getting 2 buff start this game without being invaded.
Oh, another Zenith Blade, and it's a level 2 all-in. Sebastian has no flash, and that is how you execute a level 2 all-in. Well, if Starcos is listening, don't worry. You're playing my champion. You're going to get all the love in the world. But just really nicely executed. And just too much disrespect from Sebastian and Mash. They knew they weren't going to get that level 2 at the same time.
Yeah,
but they just played a little bit too aggro.
Yeah, it's definitely like Lucian level 2. You know what's going to happen. You know he's going to dash and he's going to out-protect you for sure. Like.
And now in the top lane, Muller getting shoved in. Dizzy is here just to clear out some vision. Will get hit by a parlay. But that will be any. He'll make his way to his Crux to get a bit more XP under his belt. And you have to be kind of scared now if you are Kraken. You wanted the cheesiness of this early game Caitlyn and Morgana, but we're 3 minutes in and it's already 2 long swords for Double Hagen as Muller looking a little bit aggressive, gets off a Trader's flash from the LCS wannabe.
Yeah, that's a
Dodged
very
it with the
nice
Alpha
flash.
Assault. And here we go. Flash out from Mr. Tank. Flash forward. The fear will come through. Muller with a shadow dash. And that will be the return kill for the side of Kraken.
Well, it's good to see them picking up some kills on the top side, but I'm not sure that's the lane they want to be impacting here.
And I guess if you have to compare the Fed Lucian or the Fed Shen, you will always kind of take that Lucian. But, you know, we talked about the all-in dives in the bot lane. That Shen could be so vital in that. 4 minutes in, 40 seconds until the first Drake. And again, we highlighted how the bot lane of Esports Harte is doing that a little bit better. They will have that a little bit more priority over first elemental Drake of the game.
Yeah, but you see Muncomb is on the top side. I'm curious if DC is just going to run straight for this Drake, or if he's going to help Shen out.
Yeah, potentially as so. But we'll just go top. Just look to farm up a bit, and actually Mr. Tang is already backed and TP'd into lane, picking up a Sheen. Spirit Refuge comes down, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Meanwhile, the jungler battle coming in, Dizzy versus Muncomb, and surely he'll get the final auto. Flashes forward, but that's a really good spell shield. And now the Q to allow Dizzy to try to run out to safety, but he needs to get to the blast cone, but Mr. Tang is there, and he will knock Dizzy right back into the meat grinder. In comes Trikos, and he says thank you for the meal. 1-0 for Trikos.
Yeah, he just went a bit too deep on the invade there. He thought Muncomb did reset, I think. But he decided to stay a little bit longer and spot him in on the wolves.
Yeah,
Unfortunate thing is, I saw that Muncomb did smite the wolves, I believe. So he didn't even get them.
Yeah, the flash permafrost from Muncomb dodged really well by the spell shield from Dizzy, but it just doesn't matter when it's 3 members rotating in on you. As Zenith Blade comes in now, Starkos, watch this. We'll just wait for that Black Shield to end. Shield of Daybreak on top, and there comes in the rest of the damage. The Ignite ticking one more, and that will be the kill going over to Starkos. And that is how you play Leona into Morgana.
Yeah, you said it, and they executed it. It's like they were here listening to your to our cast there. Beautifully done, and this is not what you want to see happening to your killing Morgana lane.
Another dive potentially on to Mash level 4, but they're going to look for Dizzy. Zenith's Blade on top, and there's the Shield of Daybreak. Double Hagen will take 2 turrets, but it doesn't matter. Muncomb not done yet. Arctic Assault forward. There's the Cannon Barrage comes down, but it will not be enough. Now Sebastian and Mash, they're not even going to be able to step up. Flash forward. Zenith's Blade misses Starkos, and then you wonder why I don't hype you up. Come on, dude.
Yeah, it seemed like he was trying to hit the wall there with the Senate.
Mash! Oh, the final order doesn't find its mark, and neither does a Winter's Wrath. That was so close there. Built over Peacemaker, healed away from a Double Hagen, as that is going to be a trapper getting dropped down, but Starkos won't step onto it. Get to the blast cone! Starkos is sacrificed, and Starkos will get taken down. The taunt surely will land onto Muncomb as a DC once more. Sebastian on the chase as well, but it's all about trying to peel for Double Hagen. The Dustbringer finds the kill as the Permafrost comes in too little too late. That's 2 kills over to Kraken. 4 kills to 3, and the Infernal is up. That's going to be the focus, and surely it's going to be first Drake of the game for the Kraken side.
Yeah, Esports Harte, they definitely overcommitted on that dive.
Oh, Shadow Dash in the top lane, and the remove Scurvy will not be enough. Muller picks up the solo kill on the Shen. Flash forward, they're not going to be able to steal the Drake. Trikos will be able to get that phase rush, but can he find the damage with the Hemoplague? Yes, he can. He finds the kill onto Dizzy, but he's standing on a track. He's going to get taken down. Surely tries to find a tide of blood, but it will not be enough. 5 kills to 5, and this game is so much closer than game 1.
Yeah, at the beginning I was thinking Esports Harte was taking the game away already when it was 4-1, but now it's all back together, and I'm curious what's gonna happen next.
Precisely so. 2-1 on Tricos' Vladimir, though. And he's 20 CS up on the LCS wannabe, who, let's face it, has not been performing to our expectations in this series so far.
Oh, but it does seem like he's gonna get an item this game, as he already got his lost chapter.
Don't cast a curse at Meat Squeeze. Yeah, you never know. He might just end up selling that to pick up a tier now, because, you know, LeBlanc with tier.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
It's
sorry.
gonna be
I
a
feel
thing.
like I'm going a bit too harsh on the LCS wannabe here.
Oh
So I do
well.
apologize for that. Oh, here we go. The Solar Flare will come down. The Paranoia in the mid lane. Sanguine Pool will come through, but the Fear follows. The challenging spike comes in. Tricos picks up the kill. Flash away from Dizzy. He is solo. One auto attack would seal the deal. Muncomb, can he get his smite up in time? Winter's Wrath, sidestep by Dizzy. Still looking for the run. He finds the Fear, and the Dustbringer will give him the movement speed to safety. But here comes Mr. Tang. Flash forward. Can he find the parlay? The Spell Shield will come through as Zenith Blade not going to be able to find his mark. Dustbringer buys more time. Dark Binding masterfully landed by Hydra Smash, but he might have just sent himself into the death realm. The culling comes through. It's not going to be enough damage, and Hydras will indeed survive. But the Dark Binding gets used, and here comes Monko, potentially for the all-in. Does not have the Glacial Prison available, and Esports Harte will back out. 1 kill overall in that fight for nothing in favor of Kraken, I do believe.
What an escape was that, man! Whew. Beautiful sidestep on the Sejuani whip right there by DC.
Yeah, a
Gotta give
very
him credit
nice
for that.
rotation in from Mash and Wannabe just to buy a bit of
Nice.
safety. Mr. Tang burning that flash as well, and now all of a sudden, it's Muller who has that CS advantage in the top lane. We haven't seen the Stand United come in, so that entire time, he could have ulted onto Dizzy if he
No,
really wanted
it
to.
was on cooldown. It was on
Oh, was it
cooldown.
on cooldown?
Yeah, it was on
Who
cooldown.
did he ult on before then?
Previously, I believe it was on the bot lane dive, but it was too late. I think it wasn't Dizzy as well, but he died too soon.
Zenith Blade lands, but is straight into a Dark Binding. Now Starkos, who will get poked down a little bit, but look at the LCS wannabe really struggling, and you don't want to dive into a Vladimir like that. Just is able to recast the distortion to avoid the tides of blood as Muller makes his way up into the top lane. Dark Binding in the bot lane, not going to be able to find anyone. Couple of minutes until we get our second Drake of the game. Here we go, Paranoia in the mid lane, distortion forward, the Ignite gets a drop. Will it be enough? No, it will not, as the Hemoplay comes through, and that actually picks up the kill. Tricos with the 1-for-1 in the 1v2 fight.
I do really like what Dizzy is doing here, trying to get this LeBlanc a small lead in the mid lane so she can be relevant later in the game.
And I do really like the Nocturne pick in general, and I think this is kind of highlighting it, but I'm going to hold this thought because Monko making his way up. They're looking for the collapse, but the Shadow Dash will take Mental Boom top out to safety. But, you know, we looked at the Jarvan from game 1, and it wasn't really able to do much. But on the Nocturne, all you have to do to gank is you press R, and you fly in at supersonic speed, and that's all that Dizzy has done, and it has been enough to be able to find him some leads across the map.
Yeah, I believe he's just pressing R off cooldown every time. As he's making his way to bot lane, he might fancy a dive there.
But we saw the focus for the Rift Heralds in game 1, and we're probably going to see this again. But the LCS wannabe is stuck. Where does he go? Distortion, and the Mimic Distortion will take him out to safety, as it will be the sacrifice of Shelly going over to the side of Esports Harte. 6 kills to 7. The gold is very even, but that is all going to be changing after Shelly gets dropped, as Muller steps forward, will take a parlay to the face. He will be able to get out very safe.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to use Shelly to produce pressure and get a free Drake. I would like to see them do it.
Here we go. Oh, the Ethereal Chains almost find his mark, but the Hemoplague is taking one more transfusion. Surely, flash forward, Tides of Blood. Tricos finds the kill, and that is going to be the LCS wannabe taking the short way back to the base.
Yeah, there we go. Shelly's pop mid, and they're gonna contest for Drake, I'm quite sure.
And Shelly will charge forward. Turret place going over to Trickers and Monko. But here comes the collapse. Mash surely could just flash her forward with the ultimate, but will decide against it. And I'm just waiting and waiting for Kraken to really pull the trigger in these big fights. And it's a bit of a shame for them. They're in the bot lane. You have got Sebastian who, you know, he could be 2-2, but in fact he gets 0 of the kills, and he's a whopping 30 CS down on the Lucian, and it has to be a massive feels bad. TP being channeled in, the fight over the ocean. Drake solar flares a little bit too early, and now the paranoia gets a drop. The focus is going to be down onto the Leona. Will burn the stopwatch, and now the ethereal chains and lands onto Monaco. Arctic Assault takes him out to safety, but the kill on Starkos will go over to Dizzy, and now the focus from Kraken in the mid lane as they will push forward and look to pick up their first turret of the game. All the while this happening, Mr. Tang in the top lane looking to potentially pick up a turret of his own. Cannon Barrage down on cooldown. Ethereal Chains won't land, but the Dark Binding, well, they can look for the damage, but the Sanguine Pool comes down. Now Muller taking damage from the turret, but will be able to back out as the minion wave disappears, and so will Kraken Siege.
And we have an ocean, a cloud Drake as cloud source. Definitely going to be very favorable for Kraken in this game.
Also, our update on our mini game. Has the LCS wannabe got an item yet? No.
No, maybe
but
when
he's close. He's close.
He's very close. I think he set his mind up and he's going for the Lunar Echo, and I think he's going to be very happy to get it.
Oh no, here comes Starkos. Can he land the Zenith Blade? Yes, he can. Shield of Daybreak on the top. Where are you going to go? The Hemoplague is following through. Oh, the Snipe with a Glacial Prison. And Starkos will say, thank you very much. I'll pick that one up. Leona, she deserves all the kills anyway, let's be honest.
Well, that's maybe what you think as support main, but...
No, it's just as a Leona player. Or no other support do I do that. No.
Alright.
I mean, what is KSing anyway?
True.
But mid lane turret potentially going to be falling here in favor of Esports Harte. It's 8 kills to 8, but it is a 3k goal lead for the blue side. We're beginning to get Cloud Drake up. It is a Cloud Rift now, so they'll be looking to stack those up. And those Cloud Drakes do work pretty well with the Vladimir, with the Lucian, with the Sejuani as well.
Yes, also with this in the outer turret mid lane open, they can get control over the enemy jungle, and I think they will get slowly control over the game as well.
Muller doing an okay job. He's almost 40 CS down, but he is at 2-0. He's completed that Sunfire's cape as well. And you just have to wait for these skirmishes to come in when we see the side of Kraken being able to use these global ultis to turn fights in their favors, but oh, the LCS wannabe. Oh, the Sand United comes in. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, the focus on two Triggers. Dustbringer comes down. They're looking for the damage. The Sanguine Pool will come through, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Paranoia will pick up the kill. Flash out of the Solar Flare and the turret, but the Winter's Wrath seals the deal. It's a 2-4-1 if Malcolm gets taken down. Ace in the hole is tight, and it will just be the 1-for-1, as in the mid lane, LCS wannabe will survive, but he goes in really aggressive. Isn't enough damage. The heal is cut down by the Ignite, but it will not be enough to find the kill. LCS wannabe, he buys the raffle, but he does not win the lottery.
He did get his first item.
He did, yes. I mean, but that's an entirely different lottery right there. Now, Starkos being left to defend the bot lane turret on his own, and he'll be able to do nothing but walk around. He goes in with a Zenith Blade, but this is really aggressive. And will he step onto a trap? And no, he will not. Takes a lot of damage regardless. Uses the Stone Plate in the process, as another Dark Binding will land, but no collapse in from the side of Kraken. Muller still pushing in the mid lane. We'll take a parlay, or I should say, a barrel to the face.
It's good they got their first outer tower down, but they might overstay a little bit, so they have to stay now to defend their own.
But I do want to see, you know, more of these ults, the Sand Uniteds from Muller in the top lane, used more aggressively rather than being forced to use these passive ults to save someone who's being caught out. And here we go, the fear will come through, but Moncon will just back out instantly and no full out collapse. The bot lane outer turret is the only outer turret remaining for the side of Kraken, and they will defend this with Hydrus and Dizzy on the guarding duty.
Yeah, we got Drake coming up in 15 seconds, and I think they're definitely gonna fight over it.
Yeah,
We'll
you'd have to
see.
think that there has to be a fight. However, Mr. Tang is in the top lane. He does have TP available. The collapse coming through onto Dizzy. There comes the Winter's Wrath. There comes the kill. And that will be going over onto Starkos. Leona doesn't kill Steel. She only kills Secure, so let's be real.
Yeah, he's definitely overstepped there with the mid pressure esports Harte produced.
4-2 on the Leona Starkos. He's really trying to prove to me that, you know, he's transformed. He's no longer a top player. He's a support. But can he find Sebastian? Well, it's not going to be that hard when the Caitlyn walks right in. Permafrost lands, and the culling seals the deal. Starkos generous enough to give that kill over to Double Hagen.
Who knows? Maybe we see Stargos play Leona top instead of Soraka top the next time he plays.
Leona top is a beautiful thing, and it should not be taken lightly. I have no doubt that Starkos could play an excellent Leona top.
No doubt about that either, as we see them getting
Oh,
second.
good sidestep on the Dark Binding, and they go in. That's Hydra Smasher down, and the Rift Herald down to 1000 HP, and will be secured right before the Baron decides to wiggle its way onto the Rift. Oh no, Muller, you're a bit too far forward. The powder keg slow will come through. Does he have the spirit dash? Doesn't need it because the paranoia comes in, flash away, but the ignite takes down. That's a kill going over to Chicos, but the turnaround coming in, distortion forward. Elsia's wannabe doesn't find any damage. Flash forward, Mr. Tang finds the kill with the parlay. Now they're looking to turn it around. They find the double going on to Chicos. Now they look for Sebastian. The autos come through, will be another to find one, but it doesn't matter because Sebastian's going to get taken down. Double kill for Mr. Tang, double kill for Trickles. 4 kills for 1. And now Esports Harte will push through in the mid lane. It's only going to be Hydra Smasher left to defend, but what can a Morgana do against a 3-member strong from Harte? The answer, absolutely nothing.
No, I think this is definitely putting them back quite a lot. They tried, they gave it their all, but I think it wasn't enough.
Oh no, and now Kelly will come in potentially to finish the deal and will pick up the inhibitor turret. The inhibitor will remain. Baron up on the Rift, the next cloud in just under 3 minutes time. But Esports Harte, they're going to look for the red buff. This might be a little bit too aggressive. Good sidestep on the Dark Binding will mean that Mr. Tang can definitely survive. And it will be the reset coming in before the start for the Baron power play.
Yeah, you'll see Esports Harte set up the vision around Baron and start Kraken out, basically.
Oh, Paranoia comes in. Will it be enough to pick up the kill? Surely it will. Cannon Barrage does nothing on top, and that's exactly what Kraken need. With the Baron up now, they now have the 5v4 that they can potentially pull out. Sand United is available for Muller. He's just going to push in this bot lane and save the ult for when it's necessary, as the outer turret in the mid lane will fall to Kraken.
Yeah, this pick on Tricos definitely gives them some room to breathe at the moment. As they can regain vision around Baron, maybe even look for a trap.
And we know about the death bushes that we see here in Serenity, a gaming. It is being set up by Kraken at the moment, but Mr. Tang back up in the bot lane as well now, and I feel that Kraken missed a potential opportunity. However, those traps are great to buy a little bit of a space around the Baron. The vision control is entirely in Kraken's favor right now. 17 kills to 11, but it is a 7k gold advantage for the side of Esports Harte. And there's just been a few little bumps along the way for Harte compared to game 1.
Yeah, definitely a bit more of a fight this game around.
Paranoia going into the bot lane, but this means Nocturne's a bot and a Baron is up. They will surely pick up the kill onto Miss Tank, but the engage coming through in the top side jungle. Distortion will buy time, and now the Stand United comes on top, but Sebastian's going to get taken down as a Hemoplague burns through. Trickles picks up the kill as LCS want to be forced to back off. It's a 1-for-1 trade across the map, but it's ADC for top lane. This is aggressive from LCS wannabe. It's going to be forced to back off, but the inhibitor now being focused and Dark Binding sidestep. The inhibitor will surely fall, and there's absolutely nothing that Muller and Mash can do about it.
I have to say, I like what I'm seeing from Kraken. Like when you're this behind, you need to find these picks in the side lanes. The only problem is the rest of the team overstepped at Baron, and that made it do nothing basically.
The focus is going to be on the Cloud Drake now. Hydras will find the Dark Binding. The engage with the Winter's Wrath. Glacial Prison misses his mark. Trickers finds one kill. They'll find Muller as well. Now they look for Mash. Blast got out to safety, but is he really safe? No, he is not. 2 members remaining. Another Dark Binding will not be able to find its mark. And now it's a 5 members strong of Esports Harte who will make their way onto the Cloud Drake. They could even go for Baron, but the Paranoia coming through into the mid lane. The Fear will land Dustbringer as well as the Hysterics Gauge. Does it get a pop, but just not enough damage from Sebastian to find the kill as the Cloud Drake will get taken down. 2 Elemental Drakes for each team, but it is the stacking coming in for Esports Harte.
Yeah, I think that Kraken should have just went for the top in outer turret, for example, instead of trying to contest this Drake.
And now you've got 2 Cloud Drakes, 20% ultimate cooldown, you know, and that is massive when you've got the likes of a Vladimir, a Sejuani, a Leona, so many triggers to start a fight here. As Arctic Assault flash in, Dizzy, can he find the play? No, he cannot, and Dizzy will get taken down. Flash over, looking for the kill onto Sebastian, and the Hemo Plague finishes him off. 2 kills for nothing, and a Baron for Esports Harte, and Kraken, they're just grasping at straws now. Oh no. Goodbye.
Must feel good just killing an assassin as AD.
It must feel good when your Q and 2 autos does more damage than the assassin's full combo.
Yes, it must feel good, yes. I do see Lucian building here a Zeal. Normally, I will go Blade Rune King, Essence Reaver into Infinity Edge, I believe.
And he's far enough ahead to make it work as well.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, Zenith Blade, not quite going to land onto Muller. It's also, I think, time for us to, you know, start thinking about who we might be giving MVP in this series towards. I think I know who I'm going to give it to. However, here we go, Paranoia with Stand United. This might be the last chance they go for the Lucian, but the Solar Flare is layered right on top. Flash forward, but the instant peel from Starkos. It's a 4v3. Stopwatch gets used. Flash forward, Starkos looking for the shield of Daybreak. Good Zonias from Hydra, but Double Hagen dodges everything, and they find 2 kills as Double Hagen goes unstoppable. But meanwhile, look at the base. The TP will get channeled, but he's not even going to be able to get it because the Winter's Wrath will cancel it. Mr. Tang picks up the kill, finding the kill onto Muller as soon as the TP comes through. It's just the base remaining, and Esports Harte will take the game gladly. Another 2-0, and Esports Harte will lead the bottom spot in Division 1, and they will send a Kraken down to the depths of the league.
Yeah, it was a 3v5 they lost on the top side, and when that happens, you know the game is over.
Yeah, precisely so. So MVP then.
I found it quite hard. I'm tempted to say giving it to let me get to Munko. I think he played a very good game. Also, he's perfect KDA this game, but I feel like he was on the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I do have to agree. I think Moncom did play really well. I think Trikos from game 1 gets it, but
definitely
it's really hard to pick. It's hard to pick.
Yeah, I feel all of them played really good. But I do want to give Kraken some credit for this attempt, this game. I really enjoyed this. I guess it's the spice Nocturne brings.
Yeah. And it's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see them come back with fire, with an answer, and they brought it. And, we look at game 2 and you can see the members that are, promising. I think game 1, I was ready just to throw Dissy under the bus and say, Terrible Jungle got completely outplayed.
Yeah,
But
he
game
did.
2 on the Nocturne, he showed up a little bit. Muller played well on the Shen. Both games was able to lane against Mr. Tang fairly well. I mean, the finger does have to be pointed towards mid lane, surely.
Yeah, I think game 1, if DC recognized that Munkum went for this rapid invade, it could have turned out differently.
Yeah.
And then I guess that's just an experience thing, or I don't know how to call it.
An experience thing, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that would have helped him definitely, because now it was just so far behind. And a Jarvan without red, his ganks are just so much worse.
Precisely so. Just taking a quick look at damage. Nothing really too insane. Vladimir with 19k, which is pretty high. Any final words before we wrap things up here?
I think Esport Harte is going to be happy with the 2-0 win, and they put up a good performance.
Yeah. Well, it is a 2-0 going over to the side. Pardon me. Going over to the side of Esports Harte, who take things in a comfortable fashion, but Kraken for sure know what to do in the next series. That's been all for today. This was Division 1 Week 2. Kraken versus Esports Harte. I have been your play-by-play caster, Milky Cyril, joined by Meat Squeeze. Don't forget to hit Serenity Gaming with a follow on Twitch, or hit them up on Twitter at SRG_split. But thank you guys for tuning in once again. Stay tilt-proof on the Rift, and good night.
Good night. See you next week, maybe.